The Global Latin Factor Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about Latino
everything.
That's right, the place where you can find different type of information regarding Latino and Latino content, Latino contributors, personalities. We talking about food and anything else. If you are on YouTube and if you're watching our YouTube, make sure you subscribe, give us a like, leave us a comment. It would help us a lot and greatly appreciate it, and it help us grow the channel so that way we can go ahead and continue to make more content for you if you are enjoying it. For the ones that already subscribed, liked, and left a comment, we really truly do appreciate
Thank you.
and we will continue to do this. So again, takes just but a second. Like, subscribe. Good. All right, got it. Thank you. All right, so Carlos over here doesn't want me to talk about research because we are educators, because we are giving you education as far as Latino and things like that. But I wanted to talk about, before we get to our first topic for the Latino part, is because I think it's important to make a distinction of what we do. So what we do is we look up different information. It is research, a type of research, because of the research that's been done, such as different things, watch videos, and takes a lot of time. So it is a form of research. But the only reason why I want to make a distinction of what we do and do the best possible effort to bring you accurate information and factual information. And I'm happy if anybody knows different to let us know that we made a mistake so we can make a correction. But the reason why I bring it up is because of this. It's been in the news cycle recently. It made a big deal, and it sounds so silly, but it is a real thing. Nicki Minaj. What's up, Vi? I'm sorry you're here. What's up?
Hey.
My apology. We got Vi. Hey, what's up, Vi? How you doing today?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Cool. I'm doing great. I always
Just
have
chilling.
great days. Okay, so I don't know if you heard, but Nicki Minaj made a tweet because the something gala was happening. It's not my thing. Sorry.
The Met Gala?
Met Gala was happening. There was people dressed up really crazy, and people make fun of them, and
I wanted to go.
Try to decipher what's all that about. Maybe one of these days we'll make our way over there. We need you to subscribe so that we can make our way over there. I appreciate if you do that.
Yeah.
So she did a tweet that she hasn't got the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, because she needed to do more research, something about her family. But one of the parts that stood out more is that she said that one of her friend's cousins or something like that had the vaccine, and his testicles grew larger, and he became sterile, and he was about to get married, and the wedding was called off because of that.
Wow.
And because of the massive, well, again, there's 7.9 billion people, right? But in the spectrum of people that follow her, she has millions of people that follow her. Combined, I think they said over like 100 and something million people that tweet her.
Wow.
All the people that she has, all her social medias combined is a lot. So a lot of the people do take, like, it's literal, like they take her word to be like real, like whatever she says,
Yeah, every single word.
They run
they
with
believe it.
So they run with it, right? Mm-hmm. So it became a big deal where the minister from Trinidad and Tobago had to weigh in. Like, really important politicians have to weigh in.
What?
Now, one of the, depending on which network you like to look at, whether it's one of the ones that there's the right and there's a left that people say it. It's just it's the origin of the right and left is so weird. It's like a king that decided whether it would be right or left to make a decision, and that's how the word came to be. Well, anyways, now we took it in a political terms. Now there's a right and there's a left, right? Mm-hmm. So one side, mostly a Republican side, weigh in heavily on certain things, and the other side is like weighs heavily on the other side, Democrats. Pretty much, there's really, and then there's a few in the middle. So one side is making it like, look what's happening if you take the vaccine. You're gonna be sterile. You're not gonna be able to have kids. And then the other side is like, that's not what it is, this and that, whatever. But what I thought it was interesting is that what she said is that the research part, right? So all the research is out there technically, right? Like, what research is she gonna do? Technically, she's really not gonna do research. And I think it was Trevor Noah from the Daily Show that I watch sometimes made a good point. It's like she's just gonna look enough things to make a decision and convince herself of which ways to go. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what we do, honestly. Like, if you go on Facebook and think you're doing research, just because a word sounds like it's something, it doesn't mean that it's really what you're doing. That's why I wanted to explain what we do. We look at different video, we look at different content. There's online already, and formulate something for you for an episode. So it is some type of research, but the research is already out as far as what has happened with the vaccine. I'm gonna lie, I haven't read it up on it at all. I hear different people, different things, but it's just I haven't taken the vaccine not for this and that. I just feel like more of I don't mind wearing a mask at all whatsoever if I need to for the moment.
I don't mind either.
It's more of a health thing. It's not that I'm against it or for it, to each their own. But I do feel like I'm able to protect myself with the mask that I need to protect others in case I am infected. But I'm not against it. If one day, for whatever reason, is needed to be taken to continue then that happens. Then of course I'm gonna have to weigh my decision and do what I need to do. But I will probably go into the World Health Organization, like things like that, FDA, and make a better educated decision for myself. I don't know if that's what she's doing as far as what she calls research or Googling things. But I mean, you know what I mean? The scientists do have more tools, and I know, again, sometimes I make fun of them because of like, I can make a theory or whatever, but they do have resources and do conduct experiments in their labs, right? To better know what's going on and things that are happening. Our education as far as the way the body reacts and talking about DNA and different things like that has came a long way as far as what we know now. But we have a long way to go. But it is better than you just going into your computer and Googling this and that. And it's just...
And then you find fake news and believe it.
And there's so many people we hear articles, and it's so crazy because there's so many millions of people. And that's the reason why they had to say this, because other people are really taking that stuff and running with it. And it's just not okay if that's the type of research that you're saying, because it's not really research, to be honest. If you're not looking at the actual websites for the ones that really matter, then you're not, don't call it research. You're just looking stuff up and trying to convince yourself. And that's what the point was. So that was my take on that. So make educated decisions for you as far as what you're looking to, the real websites from real credible sources, the Health World Organization, the FDA, and different things like that. Dr. Fauci, even maybe his tweets are a little bit more educational than everybody else. But other than that, protect yourself and take care of your family, because I think people are leaving us quicker than before. I see it all the time on my timeline. You can't deny the fact that people are dying. I mean, it's not like we're making it up. It's obvious, We know somebody, that lost like relatives recently for this, more than usual, Sometimes before 2020, you might hear that, somebody died, natural causes or an accident, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's more, but a lot of it was related to COVID.
Yeah.
It's like a real deal. It's not, and it's going to happen more. Like, I'm not trying to scare you, but based on everything that I know, because I mentioned the reason why I don't feel like I need to take the vaccine now is for the same reason that I don't eat meat and things like that. And mostly vegan, plant-based, for the same reason that the quality of meat that I feel like and quality of food that we have, still even eating vegan, is just not as high quality that it used to be. So there's going to be a season of pandemics. This is just the first one. I'm not trying to scare people, but that's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. This is the first one of within 20 years, probably you're going to see a lot more, because we're being put in so many antibiotics on things, and that's just going to happen. So for my purposes, I won't at this moment, but I'm not against it, and I will need to do more research for sure. But take care of yourself, take care of your family. Life is really short, and we really want people to be here, to subscribe to our channel. I'm just kidding. It's not a laughing matter. But, we do need you to be here and, be part of life. Experience the life process. We are very lucky. If you ever feel like you're in a state of mind that you're not lucky or having an unlucky day, the odds of you being here and being born, when they say you won the genetic or the genetic lottery per se, it's like real true. It's like real facts, because the odds of you being born is like huge and you made it. And just having a challenging day of things that are happening to you is just not that big compared to not being here to experience everything. We feel like because we're hurting sometimes, it's like we wanted to not be here, but believe me, there's no coming back whenever that happens, So we appreciate you being here and thank you. All right, moving on. I know I like to change drastically because it's like so sad and all of a sudden it's like so happy.
Yeah, but we need to lighten the mood.
We do need to talk about what we're going to talk about today, and that is
salsa.
And no, you're not repeating the previous episode. This is the condiment salsa. This is not the salsa that we talked about before, salsa dancing. Yes. So tell me about salsa, DJ Var.
Well, salsa is traced back to the times of the Aztecs, Incas, and the Mayans. So the native people created their own versions of salsa using tomatoes, chiles, and squash seeds. However, official discovery to the rest of the world did not occur until after the Spaniards conquered Mexico in the 1500s. So the mix of ingredients became popular throughout Spanish civilization, and in 1571, Alonso de Molina named the dish salsa.
Alonso de Molina was one of the priests that came over. So by officially mean, they came over, conquer, and then all of a sudden it's like they saw it, like, oh, look at this, and then they took it back to the old world, which was technically, I guess it is. The where they got here in the Aztecs, that was the new world. It was the old world because they've been there forever. But then they took it back to the old world, which Europe technically they say discovered, but there was no discovery. They were already making it before. And remember we talked about before, tomatoes, chiles or peppers, all those squash seeds, which we're gonna make another episode about those. All were already native ingredients of Mexico, way before. The Spaniards and the conquerors, any kind of conqueror got there, they were already there. They're already making this stuff, Mm-hmm. What is the health benefits that we have as far as salsa?
With its use of tomatoes, fresh vegetables such as onions and chili peppers, salsa is very healthy. It's low in calories, high in fiber, and full of numerous vitamins. Salsa can also be used to boost your immune system and can be incorporated into weight loss diets.
Have you ever heard that peppers help you lose weight? Have you never heard of that?
No.
Okay, so I heard of it before. But it makes a little sense because whenever you eat peppers within the salsa, it raises your temperature up. And whenever your temperature raises up, then you're hotter, so you're burning more calories.
So is that why they sweat so much?
Yeah. I love salsa. My favorite one is salsa verde, which is, I think it's more the tomatillo. And it cooked or raw, it doesn't matter. I just love salsa. I know you say you're not too much into salsa. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? If your mouth just doesn't tolerate it, there's nothing wrong with it. There's people that are allergic to it, But as far as you like try it a little bit, dab anything?
Yeah, I've tried so many times over the years, and I get told, oh, if you grow up, your taste buds will change and you'll like it.
They do, right? That's
yeah, but not for mine. Haven't worked for salsa yet.
So whenever you eat salsa, for you, what exactly is it that is it discomfort? Is it too hot? Does you get you feel like you're allergic? Maybe you might be allergic.
Yeah, in my throat, I can't breathe.
Yeah, so you're allergic to it. So it's not, I don't think that you're able to eat salsa. I think you're actually allergic to the salsa. The pepper, maybe it's the peppers or one. So you eat tomato, right, with no problems?
Yeah.
Have you ever ate a raw pepper by itself?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I think if your throat's closing, that's a lot of I'm not trying to diagnose you, but people that are allergic to food, their throat closes up a bit. So I think you might be actually allergic to it. It's not. There's other people that can eat it and their throat doesn't swell up, but their stomach gets messed up to the point that they have to use the bathroom immediately. Yeah.
You know, I had a niece. She wasn't even a year old, and she loved salsa. And I would think, how is this little baby here eating all this salsa, and I still can't? But she loved it.
They say that peppers, which of course are one of the ingredients in salsa, are addictive. Meaning that the first time you tried a pepper, like kind of like when you first time you tried some kind of drug, the memory is stuck in you that you remember that and you look for that sensation, because whether you want it or not, once you eat salsa with that is spicy, it does cause a little bit of pain, but within your own body, those endorphins kick in. So you start making feel good after a while.
Is it true that you should start trying salsa as a kid and not when you're older?
It just depends on your upbringing.
Because I've heard that. I've heard you need to start them young.
Well, okay, let me tell you a funny story. What happened to me, right? When I was little. I grew up, my uncles were a whole lot older than I was, and I was one of the only boys. I grew up around a lot of girls. But so they used to just take me around with them, right? And one of my uncles gave me they actually put the freaking chili on my mouth, make me chew it so it would be hot for me. They torture me like that.
Oh.
So where I can because that's it's like a test of if you're gonna be a man. You know what I mean? They're it's machismo thing, right? You're gonna eat this chile and you're gonna chew it. You're gonna feel the pain because it's gonna help you become tougher. And sure enough, they did it a couple times. And then one time, so they did that to me, and eventually I think I grew a tolerance after a while. I was just start eating it. And then another time, a funny story about chiles is that I took these little peppers. They're red. They're not habanero, but they look like habanero tree peppers, right? Mm-hmm. So I was a little chavalillo, little big kid, and I was running around, and I thought I was grabbing a tomato from the table, and I put it in my mouth, and I ate it. And my grandma, all of a sudden, she saw me. I was what's wrong with you? Oh my God. And she was looking what the hell? And then she realized that I ate the chile. So I think either my addiction came from there of eating chile, and then after my uncles kept wanting to have me forcibly eat the chiles, that I eventually became and developed a tolerance and a liking to it. So I don't know. It just depends. We give one of my nieces, little bitty, she likes pepper. One of my nephews, he's little bitty. He's going on 3, and he loves chile. The hot Cheetos. It's not the best thing to eat, but he eats them like nothing. My other niece does not like them anymore. I think as a Hispanic or Mexican families, I think we give our little youngins chile just to start liking it. I don't know if it's
because that's where I heard it from.
I think it makes sense that if you start young, maybe then you can know if you're gonna like it or not, because it does take a little while to get used to. It's not like an immediate thing. It takes, and you got to start little by little, and then just before you know it. And you can lose it if you stop eating peppers for some time. When you try to go back on and eat the same type of pepper level, you'll be like,
really?
So you got to build it back up. Your tolerance, I swear. I've done it before many times. I stopped eating peppers for a long time, spicy stuff. Then I go back and start eating spicy again. And I have to start a little bit less.
So it's kind of like drinking. If you stop drinking and you had a high tolerance, and then you have that first beer.
Yep.
And you're on the floor.
This is scientific. We are test subjects here that we can tell you that has happened, because it has happened to me. And anybody that eats spicy knows that you go up levels. You keep going and you go up, and before you know it, you can go and be on hot ones. So if you subscribe to hot ones, you better be subscribed to this. I'm just saying. All right, moving on. Today, salsa is a mix of the old world and the new world ingredients such as tomatillo, tomatoes, chiles, native of West and the Western Hemisphere. Also, onions and garlic, which is from the old original world. So onions and garlics are not from here, but they were from the old world. And then now, pretty much every salsa that you have has the ingredients, has cebolla, has onions, has garlic.
That's true.
And it just adds an extra punch. I like it. So none whatsoever for you has you ever even for a long time ate spicy stuff. It's just like, yeah, you're allergic to it. I concluded.
Yeah, because I think when I was, I guess not that long ago, when my mom, she'd be making salsa at home and I couldn't even be around it. Just the smell of it would make me start coughing a lot. So I'd have to sit outside.
You're allergic to it, 100%. I diagnosed. I'm a doctor.
So it's been solved.
Yep,
I never knew, but it's because I'm allergic.
I guarantee you, if you go and take a test for it, you'll come back positive for being a bat and being allergic to peppers. All right, tell me about tortillas here in the chips and salsa here in Texas. What happened?
Tortilla chips were adopted as the Texas state snack on June 22nd, 2003. So the students at Marcel Elementary School in Mission contacted the state representative, Kino Flores, about designating a state snack. I did not know that.
And here in Texas, Carlos, if you didn't know, chips and salsa are the state snack. What? So chips, tortilla, natives of the Aztecs, natives of of Mexico, and tortilla, the salsa itself, tomatoes, chiles, mostly the main ingredients, also come from the Aztecs and all that area, Mexico. Ain't that crazy? Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about, the Global Latin Factor podcast, is that we forget certain things. Like, if you never knew this as a Latino, there's nothing wrong with that. But now you know that the things that you do every day, sometimes we take it for granted of like, oh, they're just been here. But no, we're making an impact. The same reason that now in 2003, how many years is that from today? 2018? Somewhere around there. A lot. Then now it's a snack here, a national snack here in Texas. Like, that's crazy. And when is, not only in Texas, but when is, DJ Vara, tell me when is the National Salsa Month here in the U.S.?
It's in May since 2014.
Yes. May is the actual official here in the United States of the National Salsa Month. I didn't even know there was a Salsa Month. You know that?
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either.
Well, I don't eat it, so.
But
I guess that's
I thought it was interesting. In 2000, so salsa has been ranked as in the world, as I think it was 2000 and something is when the last survey was. In the world, the number 2 ranked in the world as far as condiments. Wow. What do you think about that?
It's really interesting. I wonder what number 1 is.
I know what number 1 is.
What's number 1?
Guess.
Ketchup.
Ketchup, tomatoes from the Americas. Not okay. So I heard a podcast that they were talking about tomatoes, and they say that they were native of or they said that the tomatoes were from North America. And no, they were from Mexico originally. They went to the old world or the new world or the old world. I'm sorry, I keep mixing it up. So tomatoes were here. They took them back to Europe, turned them right back around to the States, and brought it in. At one moment at a time, the tomatoes grew very well here in the United States, and they started growing them here. So they're not. They're from. Science said. Science said they're from Mexico, from the Aztecs, from that area. You know, there's no denying that. It's just mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is the number 1 condiment. And then salsa, and then ketchup, and then mustard. I don't know if the sequence is correct, but around there. How about that?
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do one very interesting. The number 1 now. That was at that time, but there is a number 1 that surpassed not that long ago. So at that time of this one, whenever they said that salsa was number 2, mayonnaise was number 1, but there is a number 1 king, and I'm not gonna tell you that because we're gonna dedicate a whole episode that is actually a Latino all over the world thing. But I'm gonna say that first, so you make sure you subscribe so that you know what we're talking about. All right, check it out. Tell me, DJ Vara, some of the type of salsas that there is that you can make.
Well, some of the types are salsa roja, which is used in Mexican and Southwestern foods. It was made with tomatoes, chiles, onions, garlic, peppers, and cilantro. Another one is salsa cruda, which is raw sauce, also known as pico de gallo. So it's made with raw tomatoes, lime juice, chili peppers, onions, cilantro leaves, and other chopped raw ingredients.
Again,
Another one, salsa verde, which is green sauce.
my favorite. My favorite. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's made with tomatillos or green tomatoes. Then we have salsa negra, black sauce, made with dried chiles, oil, and garlic. Another one, salsa taquera, taco sauce, which is made with tomato paste.
Skip the next one. I don't want you to say that one. We're gonna say that one for another time.
All right, then we have chipotle salsa, a smoky, spicy sauce, which is made with smoked jalapeno chili peppers, tomatoes, garlic, and spices. And last but not least, we have mango salsa, which is a spicy, sweet sauce made with mangoes.
So this is like an example of just a few salsas that you can make, just the base of salsas. But to be honest, have you seen all kinds of different salsas that there is? There's all kinds of salsas. Salsa, you can put some seeds, some pumpkin seeds, like they used to do back in the days. Salsa where you put some squash, zucchini squash. Salsa that you can put some avocados. I mean, like you name it, you can make your own. People toast different kinds of chiles, dried chiles, red chiles, every kind of sauce that there is. And this is not covering hot sauce, which we're going to do a separate episode on particular hot sauce that there is, because whether you want it or not, chiles originated from the Aztecs and took over. So this is the main foundation. Without these particular key ingredients, you wouldn't have all these salsas and hot sauces. And there's so many hot sauce. Like Valentina has a very interesting story that we're going to talk about. We're going to cover an episode for that one by itself, because it has a very interesting story. Again, remember to subscribe to know more about this, or follow wherever you listen to on the podcast platform, because we are going to be getting into all these at a later time. They have very interesting stories. Tell me some fun facts about salsa here in the U.S.
One fun fact, a syrup maker produced the first commercially successful salsa in the U.S.
What? Syrup.
Syrup.
All right, what about another one?
Another one, well, it became America's top-selling condiment 25 years ago.
Surpassing ketchup. Took the title. It said, ketchup, quítate. Get out of my way. There's the new king in town. And it's all because and even then, even though ketchup was dethroned by salsa, it still has tomato. Both of them do. Again, Latino. I'm just saying. It's all facts, scientific, proven. I went in the kitchen and whipped it up, and I saw that in the microscope. I'm just kidding. I didn't. All right. The salsa term for this actual salsa dancing did take the name from salsa. So they took the name from the condiment salsa. Salsa was already around, and then it makes sense because it's a different. If you think about it, salsa, right? If you just say salsa, it's like different ingredients put together, right? Same thing for the music. It's a different type of influences from different places, and they create salsa. This is an interesting one. Tell me the next one.
It's officially a vegetable, according to the USDA.
Salsa is officially a vegetable. Why?
Because back in 1998, the U.S. Department of Agriculture made the designation, clearing the way for schools to use and promote its consumption. So it was yet another victory for salsa over ketchup, which tried and failed to gain the same designation during the Reagan administration.
So ketchup, okay, first of all, ketchup already had, like, tomatoes were already a vegetable, right? We talked about it in the previous episode that the only reason why tomatoes are a designated vegetable here in the U.S. is because of a tariff. That's the only reason why. Botanically, tomatoes are fruit. So that's why they're talking about putting judges in the court was so important, because they can make this type of decisions, right? It was hurting the people here in the U.S. that were cultivating tomatoes, because people in the Caribbean were growing tomatoes and their tomatoes were being brought over, and they decided to tear up the tomatoes. So they tear up the tomatoes because they were on all fruits. But the people over there was like, they're I'm sorry, on vegetables, and then people were like, no, it's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. They took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court here in the U.S. Designated the tomatoes to be a vegetable. However, botanically, they are a fruit. So that's why people worry about what judges are gonna be put in there. Again, I know the judge is supposed to follow the law, but to say that they wasn't for the benefit of the U.S. people at that time, you can't say that wasn't it. So you see why there will be concerns whenever they talk about judges, things like that, because they do influence whether we want it or not. I think that it is a fruit, was designated a vegetable for the benefit and the pocket of the American people. Just saying, it's a fact. Google it. Google it. All right. And so, yeah, apparently salsa is a vegetable too, according to the USDA. What about that?
Nice.
Very interesting. I'm just saying, very interesting. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next one. Our next Latino is a gentleman, has a very interesting story. And the reason why he has a very interesting story is his upbringing. All right, so tell me, who we talking about?
We're talking about Juanes.
His full name is?
Juan Esteban Aristizábal Vásquez.
Pronunciation, look at that. Look at that tongue at work.
First try.
All right, so he was born on August 9th in 1972. He was born in Carolina del Príncipe, Colombia, known as professional name Juanes. He's a Colombian musician, a songwriter, writer, instrumentalist, and a record producer. So he started with a band, and his band was Ekhymosis, and that means Bruce. I didn't know that meant Bruce.
Bruce.
Ekhymosis. Ekhymosis means Bruce.
So he's like the Bruce Wayne.
Well, no, like a Bruce, that kind of Bruce. This is my pronunciation. You know, I'm Latino. You know, I'm Mexican. I'll be tongue twisting sometimes. So yes, that's where he got his name. That's where the band that he started, and they were mostly influenced the first record that they put out. They were very heavily influenced in heavy metal.
Nice.
So their first record sounded heavy metalish, but then they moved on in the second record, and they began to, evolve as a band. And their second record was more almost salsa-ish, pop-ish, and then of course they got slowly changed, and then they died off, and that was the end of it. So yeah, he went as a solo artist. So about how many records have you think he sold so far?
I heard he sold more than 15 million albums worldwide.
50.
That's a lot.
15 million albums worldwide.
Woo-hoo.
Talk about the global Latin factor. This is huge. Like 15 million is a lot of albums to be sold around the world. And what kind of awards has Mr. Juanes have already won?
Mr. Juanes, he has won the Universal Music. Among others are the 20 Latin Grammy Awards.
Yep.
5 wins in the Grammy Awards on November 13, 2008.
Yep.
And then 2 Grammy Awards. Juanes received the BMI President's Award at the 2010 BMI Latin Awards.
So BMI's music entity, and there's ASCAP and BMI. Those are the most when they track what they call I forgot the word, royalties for artists. There you go. I know the word. I just didn't remember it.
Just need a little push.
Yeah, I need a push. The royalties for artists, they're the ones that help. And they do hold their own awards, BMI and ASCAP. And he so happened to have that in 2010. And what was the next one that was presented for his work that he does outside of music?
Well, it was presented by James Edward Taylor. Juanes is also known for his humanitarian work with the Colombian victims of anti-personnel mines through his NGO, Fundación Mi Sangre.
So he was in Colombia. I'm going to skip a little bit. I'm going to have to come back later. But he was in Colombia at the time that Colombia was going through some rough times, civil war and different things like that. So whenever there's people fighting, they leave things behind, such as mines and different things like that. So somebody has to go find them, deactivate them, So he helps with things like that. Yes, it just trips me out. Like, just leave mines laying around. And this is not the only problem in Colombia, right? There's all over the world, different places that are going through conflict. Just leaving your bombs around, you know? That's not cool.
It's not safe at all.
And then just, you so happen to be there, you step on one of them and, man, you have a bad day. That's not cool at all. All right. On April 2013, Juanes released his autobiography titled Chasing the Sun, which tells his story through a narratives and pictures. So if you want to know more about him as far as his autobiography, you can go ahead and check out Chasing the Sun, where he shows pictures and narrates what he's all about. So as a teenager, what was he influenced by?
He was greatly influenced by rock and metal bands such as the Beatles and Metallica.
So remember what I said earlier, that the band that he was with, they were very influenced. Why? Sometimes I can't even talk. I had that problem last time, and I think I need to do more vocal exercise. I'm sorry, that's just my personal problems. Yes, so he was very influenced with those sounds, and that's how he began and merged with the other group members and formed that band. And that's what their sound was like, you know, influenced by heavily from the U.S. What age did he begin playing guitar and the flute?
He began playing at age 7 when the city had the highest homicide rate in the world.
Yes, and this is when he was growing up in Colombia. So he began learning about guitar at that age, but at the same time, he was growing up in Colombia when that's what happened. He was there in the Medellin when Pablo Escobar was he was running around, having hippos. You know they have a hippo problem in Colombia now?
No.
Do you know why?
Why?
Okay, so Pablo Escobar liked exotic animals, and he brought hippos over, and he had hippos there. So the people that whenever he was killed or whatever, they left the hippos there thinking they were just gonna die. Well, the hippos didn't die; they reproduced, and now Colombia has a hippo problem. And if you don't know about hippos, hippos are killers. The hippos are not nice. If you see a hippo, look,
they're not cute and fuzzy.
And there's a bunch of, they're not the little cute little things outside of the water or in the water. So people think they swim, right? They don't swim. They just hop in the water and run underwater.
I thought they swim.
No, they don't swim.
What?
No, they don't. They run really fast underwater, up to, I think it was 20 to 30 miles an hour. Wow. And outside of the water, they run about the same, 30 to 40 miles an hour. So they're not little cutie little animals, right? They kill more people than any other animal in the world. Hippos do. Oh my gosh. Hippos. Like if you see a hippo, stay away. Like run. Like get on something fast than 30 to 40 miles an hour and like disappear. Don't go near those things. They're not that nice. And then they're mostly omnivores, but they'll kill anything just because. Yeah,
I heard they can kill a alligator or a crocodile.
They snap
them in half.
They snap an alligator's neck like it's nothing. A tiger, poor tiger. They'll snap them, throw them. Human, what do you think is like of a human? You know, what do you think they're gonna do to a human? That's the reason why they kill more people. So, anyways, Colombia now, where Mr. Juanes has a hippo problem because they didn't want to. They should have. I'm sorry. I love the animals, but they're not native of there. They don't have no natural predators. So what's gonna happen? They're just gonna keep populating, and then before you know it, they have a hippo problem. Yeah. Take care of. I don't know what's gonna happen to them. Eventually, they're gonna have to get rid of them somehow. You know what's gonna happen?
Anybody want a hippo?
I know. You could probably get one in. Okay, outside of the topic of Juanes. Don't get exotic animals if you're not going to take care of them for life or until they expire. Because, like, you're harming the environment.
Like that cobra and GP that
the cobra
nobody
and GP
found.
that gets away. There's still a cobra running around here in Grand Prairie, Texas, where, we are around.
And the tiger in Houston.
Yep, that tiger. No, it was a tiger. Was a lion.
It was a tiger.
Yeah, it was a tiger that the guy had in his place, and it got away. Like, just don't stick with. Don't get no deer. I seen somebody with a deer pet. Don't get no raccoon. They have rabies, and they're not pets. They're not meant to be like in the house. You know, dogs, cats, not even snakes, because they're gonna go big, and you're not gonna be able to afford what they eat, and before you know it, like you're gonna have to get rid of it. That's what happened in Florida. They have a big issue with pythons and boa constrictors for the same reason. And when they got too big, people go and throw them in the Everglades, and they don't have no natural predators. So guess what's gonna happen? Same thing with the hippos. They just take over the environment. So don't just stick with the dogs and cats. You don't need no exotic. Don't do it for the gram, because that's the only reason why people do it. Why would anybody want to get any crazy animal
like a cheetah or a hyena?
And I'm not a big fan of zoos. I'm really not. I don't like that the animals are there in captivity and just, they're in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
I get it that people were and sanctuaries too for that's Tiger King. That's what happened with that guy. It's just not cool. Just leave them be. They're natural in their own area. Just let them be. And if we don't mess with them, then we should be fine. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on back to Mr. Juanes. I'm sorry, I just gotta get that out. So what happened in December 11?
On December 11, 2007, Juanes performed at the Nobel Peace Prize concert in Oslo, Norway, together with various artists, which was broadcast live to over 100 countries.
100 countries.
Nice.
Talk about the global Latin factor. That's a lot of people to be seen, and being one of the Colombian artists to do their thing. It's amazing. All right, what's his discography? This is some of his discography. I believe it's the full discography, but tell me a couple of them, DJ Vira.
Well, they started in 2000 with Fíjate Bien, 2002, Un Día Normal, 2004, Mi Sangre, 2007, La Vida es un Ratico.
Ratico. Little bitty. Poquito.
2010, PARCE. Then 2014, Loco de Amor. And 2017, Mis planes son amarte.
All right, and I believe he has another live unplugged disc that he released, but most of them, this is some his discography. And I went through, when I was listening to some of the videos and going through some of the interviews he had, and then they were playing part of the songs. He has a lot of hits. Tengo la camisa negra.
It's the most famous.
That's one of the bigger hits.
I had that on my MySpace, and he was my background.
Oh, yeah? You like Juanes?
Yes. I had a crush on him when I was a teenager.
You still have a crush on him? I don't know more. Maybe.
He still got it.
He's married.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so something that I looked up on this man. Okay, I remember what we told you before. We bring you this amazing people that done amazing things, but we can't forget that people are human and are entitled to make mistakes just like everybody else because they're going through the life journey. He cheated on his wife.
Whoa.
Yeah, he cheated on his wife before and got caught, and it was made public, and he rendered an apology to her saying it was sorry, and then they were able to patch it back up, and they were able to continue and had another daughter. One of their daughters named Luna, which is very interesting because is Anna Sano daughter's name is Luna. That's pretty cool. I thought it was cool. All right, so that's pretty much all we have on Mr. Why did you like him? Why did you have now I'm curious about that. Why did you have a crush on him? Was it the long hair?
He was like a teen heartthrob, I would say.
What does that mean exactly? That all the teenagers love him?
Yeah.
Teenage girls?
I sure did.
Yeah.
And I was a teen.
What was your favorite song about him?
The only one I really knew was
La Camisa Negra one?
Yeah, and then one about Fotos.
Oh, yeah, that Fotos y Recuerdos.
Oh, yeah.
That one go hard. That one. He has
getting flashbacks.
Juanes, look him up on Spotify or wherever you like to listen to your music. Listen to some of his songs. Even if you don't speak Spanish thoroughly, you'll greatly appreciate the music that he puts together. Some of the songs are very inspirational. Some are upbeat, and some will get you dancing. Mm-hmm. And that Fotos y Recuerdos, man, that'll probably make you cry. It really does.
He came out with a new one. It was a collaboration with Rymix.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made they have Well, Remix made Oye Mujer,
Yeah, oh, you
and
okay.
then Juanes jumped on it,
Yeah,
so
he
they
did.
have a remix.
That is true. So this is only this discography. He didn't really cover all the features that he's done, but he has worked with and worked on the album with Juan Gabriel at one time. So he got to work with him
Nice.
before Juan Gabriel passed away, which we'll do one on Juan Gabriel, but there is controversy that he's still alive. I don't think so. I know fans would love, just like Selena. I think that some people said that she was still alive,
And Tupac.
and Tupac, and every artist that left us already. They're already gone. I'm sorry. Just let it be. Move on. Listen to the music, and we'll be good. But
We're in denial.
we are. I mean, some people is, again, it's part of their identity as far as growing up, listening to Tupac, listening to Selena, how much they make it part of them, and to lose something, and that is like literally almost seems like they're losing a part of them, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why it's really hard to. It's easier just to just let it go and just it's okay. It's part of life. Nothing wrong with it. So this was what else? What else, Mr. Juanes? What else did you like? Just the songs, his look.
Yeah, mostly his look.
Yeah, he's a handsome man. I can say it. Nothing
I
wrong
would
with that.
say he was like, kind of like the Johnny Depp.
Kind of. Well, you're talking
Kinda.
about the look. I kind of sort of
Yeah.
see how can they kind of look a little bit.
And
like-
how they're older, but they still got it.
I'm gonna continue to repeat this forever and a day because we are related somehow, whether we want it or not. Whether we're like darker tone or lighter tone. There's a reason why I feel like some people have people that look real similar to each other for the same reason that we started with two. We started with two people, and we all procreated like animals do, and eventually we got more better than animals, and we started forming different families and tribes. But it doesn't matter. We're all, if we trace it down, we're all pretty much related. What's up, cuz?
What's up, guys?
I know, right? Just saying. It wasn't a weird thing back in the day. So, and we're talking about millions a year. I think more modern human became modern. As far as it can trace it, it was like about 120 million years ago, way before Neanderthals and all them other people that were
Wow.
here. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. We just feel like that's why I feel like people do look alike somewhat somehow. You know, maybe
I
him
have a
and
lot
Johnny
of
Depp are cousins.
doppelgangers.
Doppelganger, that's the word. I don't see.
I have a lot of them.
Do you?
I do. I've had people come up to me like when I used to bartend or when I'd work at Six Flags or places where there'd be a lot of people. There'd be people coming up to me asking to take my photo because they want to show their cousin or their sister that I look just like them. all
Have
the
you ever
time.
had? I had somebody who's like, they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" This and that. They start like carrying a conversation.
That's happened to me.
And then like, I just like not to be rude, and then like somehow it comes up with like, "Do I know you?" Or like, "Have we met?" Like, "Oh, you're like so and so." I'm like, oh, "My name is Crispin." I'm like, "I'm so sorry, this and that." I'm like, "Oh, it's all good." Y'all look so much alike. I'm like, "I'm pretty sure we do. We're cousins." It is true. Yeah, it's true. We're cousins. We all related somehow, whether you don't want it or not. You can deny it all you want. You can be as white supremacist you want. You have roots with probably some Latinos or some African people, whether you want it or not. You know, I got my own theories about things like that. How all that certain hate started, and it's like real deep rooted way back in the days. One day I'll tell you about it, but not today. All right. Anything else you have for Mr. Juanes or Salsa?
That's it.
If you ever get tested for allergies, include in there peppers. Tell them, hey, I want to be specifically also, can you include peppers? I want to know if I'm allergic to peppers. And tell me if I'm right, because I'm almost 100%. I'm almost 100% I'm right. If your throat starts getting smaller, like closed, you're allergic.
And I get acid reflux. I forgot to.
Yeah, you're definitely allergic.
I just stay away.
All right. Well, this was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember, we are just like you. We are the spice in this global melting pot that it is the world. We'll see you next time.